On Platinum Circuit, you're joined by me, Papa Pike, and my boy Weapon, keen for a big night of fun, entertainment, and League of Legends. Usually you don't hear those things in the same sentence, but you're good to
What?
see it here. Weapon, how are you doing tonight, man?
Dude, I'm so good. I'm like so good. I've had the best week. It's been awesome. And
Yeah,
I get to cap it off with some league, some casting with you. It's going to be great.
it's
I don't know
always
which
the best.
way. Hey, Mayhem, this way or this way? Help me out. That way?
I don't know which way he's talking
Other
about, but
way.
I'm,
Thank you.
I'm just
With
vibing.
you. Yes. Thanks. Shout out to Mayhem behind the scenes as well,
Yes,
on the ones and twos and whatnot.
the man himself, always in the back end, always beautiful, always got my heart. But guys, we are keen for an awesome night. Weapon, who do we have playing tonight? Because we're now the staple sort of Sunday afternoon vibes with MCOM right now, and I'm loving it, by the way. But we've
It's
got
so
some
good.
big games, a best of three tonight. As we're in the best of three section, who are we seeing tonight?
We are going to see what is it? It's Jade Dragons. So Jade Dragons with a slightly revamped roster,
Mm,
having replaced the top and jungle. So now we're going to be seeing Part the Horizon and Tempest in there. And from what I think we've been told, if I recall correctly, these guys are like fresh out of solo queue. They've only
mm.
had a couple of days to prepare, some time with the coaches, time with the team in scrims and whatnot, and they're just getting thrown in the deep end. So super keen. And then across them on the other side of the table, it's going to be, it's Starcasters? I'm getting the
Starcasters,
name right.
yeah.
Yes, with Korean Weeb in the top lane, who has been absolutely popping off.
Oh,
And the team is sitting at 2-0. They're looking indomitable.
look, it's nice to see that again. It's unfortunate to see teams are sort of getting mixed matched and all sorts of things are happening as Weapon has disappeared on my screen, I believe. But at the same time,
I'm still here. I'll get it fixed.
you're still
I
here?
got
Lovely.
it.
But no, I love that we've got a team that has sort of stuck together. So I'm really excited to see this team really continue their stride forward. It's really hard for teams when roster changes come through, and sometimes they are unavoidable. But it's nice to see teams that just decide, hey, we're going to click, we're going to make it work. It really shows their level of not only commitment to the team, but to their excitement to keep playing with each other. So it's nice to see that happening in Oceania for all of you guys. But I think we got some exciting things happening for these games because we've got some interesting picks to be played, but I think we are ready to probably potentially get into this game whenever they feel fit.
Yep.
But any
So sharp.
predictions going through Weapon?
I mean, you have to go for the Starcasters, right? They're coming
Yeah.
in hot, 2-0 in the first week, just absolutely smashed it. And yeah, I'm really keen to see what this revamped version of the J Dragon can bring to the
Mm.
table. Without, they had a Mogus fan slash imposter in the top lane, and Plasma in the jungle. Very different look for this team, I imagine, going forward without that sort of hard carry in the top lane. But who
Mm.
knows? I've looked at Part the Horizons OPGG. A lot of carries in there, so hopefully we're looking at a bit
Mm.
of explosive on the top lane.
Oh, look, I'm curious to see how Korean Weave's going to be going into that. I think Part of the Horizon, fresh off the boat, we want to sort of see
Mm-hmm.
where he's sort of living and how he's going to play. So I personally don't know too much of where he's going to go, but I'm keen to see how Korean Weave's going to take advantage of this new player, trying to learn that, get a bit of synchronicity in his team and sort of vibe and mesh. So yeah, I'm 100% for that. I think Tempest in the jungle as well, I think is quite new. So taking over for
Exactly.
another player. So I think that's going to be quite interesting. And how is this new jungler going to come and bring something a little bit fresh to the scene?
Yeah.
But again, one person I think we don't talk about potentially enough on the side of Jade Dragons is Worgen. This guy has proven to be a fairly high contendable AD carry player. He plays really well. You got to ban that Draven away from him. And it seems they have probably left it open for them. As we are in the picks and bans right now, the bans have finished or in the picks phase. So I'm really keen to see what these teams can really do and how they're going to play. But let's break down what's happening on this pick and ban phase, Weapon.
Yeah, now we do have the Jarvan locked in. So I was going to say, there's a couple of high priority picks on this patch. We're now on 13-4. Annie, still very damn good. If you can get it, no matter what role you play it in, mid, you can play it in support. You could probably play it in top lane. We've been seeing a bit of that business in solo queue. But it's just high priority. You just scoop it up. So Jarvan is the other one. Massive buffs to the AD ratio on his shield means that he's actually a lot more survivable than he is before. And with diving bot lane being so important in the current meta, just so pivotal for these games to get snowballed ahead through that bot lane. So Jarvan a big part of that. The pickup on the other side is going to be Sejuani, which safe, stable. Things like Silas now come to mind if you see that picked up, and whether that's in the wheelhouse of these mid laners, but it's going to be a Corki. Interesting.
I kind of like the Corki pick. I think that's quite strong at the because you can sort of flex that sort of a lot of poke damage coming out, especially with a J4 who wants to go all in. If as long as you're sitting back and trying to maintain a safe distance, Corki's just going to be hitting you with those rockets. So I like that they're sort of gone for a bit of a poke sort of range, even with the Sejuani who's an all-in champion too. So it's a nice sort of balance they got there. You can clearly see that their Starcasters do want to have that sort of all-in or poke. So, but there's a Veigar being picked. Okay, what do you think about that weapon?
Yeah, it's something that can match the range of the Corki. So as far as the mid lane matchups, it's pretty good. It scales just as nicely. Maybe not quite as much consistent DPS, but if you catch that squishy target out, hit him with hit him with all of your spells, and then finish off with the R, then definitely can pick up the kill. And it also gives you a bit of zoning potential with that baby cage and the Jarvan. Throw down those 2 bits of CC, and you can see how it works. Mordekai's are locked in.
No,
I was going to say interesting. I like this a little bit more. You're seeing the rise of the tank supports. Leona should be the next thing up. This definitely acts as a blocker for things like the Rakan, but I think it still opens you up for potentially the Alistair, which is looking better and better these days into those melee supports where they go in. Alistair can really act as the kind of disengager for that type of situation. So I have to say, block it in here.
Yeah, I really, really like this, Leona, but there's the Karma pick.
Okay, they've just killed themselves.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. Karma, you can technically flex into a couple different lanes. We have seen tank Karma in the top and mid as well. So this could potentially be a bit of a flex, maybe top if they really feel like it, but I feel like that's going to be a support.
Has to be a support. Now,
I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, this is where you start to look at things like the Caitlyn, things like the Ezreal. So if you're looking to just play range into the Leona, maybe just keep them pinned under tower. AD carries are going to be targeted here, and there's that Caitlyn. So the reason I feel a little bit nervous about Karma these days is just because Leona and a bunch of those melee supports were buffed in, I think it was 13.3, and some residual buffs coming through in 13.4. So they're on the rise, and it's very intentional to shut down lanes like this Karma, where aggression should be able to beat these enchanter supports. And when you've got something like the Jarvan as well heading down there, all you need is that one kill to get a massive injection of gold into one of your carries and get the game rolling in your favor. And sometimes killing that Karma is just what you need to do.
Yeah, and we can see there's the bans coming out. We see that Draven being taken off the board from Worgen too, which I think Draven Leona would have been such a strong lane, especially Worgen being so fearsome with that champion. But like you said, the Caitlyn being banned out too, Ezri as well. I think they've taken a lot of good picks off the board, so it's nice to see some really smart drafting, what feels like from both sides weapon. But there's the Ornn. Okay, a lot of engage coming out from Starcasters. I'm a bit of a fan of that. I think it's going to be a lot harder to sort of attack this Ornn in the top lane, so he's going to have a bit of a free ride, and obviously he wants to scale into it.
I think you can go for things like the Camille here, if that is in the wheelhouse of Part of the Horizon. I've seen a couple of those games in solo queue. Looking at maybe things like you could even just match scaling with scaling, go for your own tank, but I think you got leeway to go for it. Oh, okay, that's a good. All right, nice. Love to see it. And the final pick I want to talk about, we're going to talk about that Darius a bit, but the other thing I want to see is this Jinx. It's the one thing we have seen Walken do very, very well on. You've got outside of the Corki, a relatively short range comp in front of you, one that's very exploitable to long range poke and damage. I think the Jinx will go down really nicely here, so let's see if they lock it in.
I was actually going to say that on the other side, a Jinx and a Karma is such a bit of a formidable lane too. The speed up is quite impressive, but that's is that a Veigar AD carry? Is that an AP carry? No.
AP carry?
No. Are you serious?
Darius? What's going on? Misclick? Xin Zhao doesn't do anything here? Okay.
Jade Dragons? Maybe a bit of miscommunication, potentially chat.
Mistakes made in draft. I don't know. Samira, hey, look, there's a bunch of melees, so Samira feels pretty good here. Vayne, probably also good if you're going to knock someone away from you, sure.
Yeah.
You've also been given the luxury of just scaling into infinity here.
Yeah.
Because you're the team with a traditional AD carry. So, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one for. Okay, it is going to be the Veigar bot for Worgen. Cool. Let's talk about this, right?
Let's break it down. Let's break down this bot lane.
Break down. So, confirmation that it is going to be Jarvan mid into the Corki, which actually I don't mind. I can see that you've got a lot of mid lane pressure there on the Corki. He's only got the Valkyrie to really get out of dodge. Once he has his flash down, Xin Zhao J4 is going to lock that down. Veigar is potentially going to be able to clear waves after a point. Once he gets maybe his Fiendish Codex online, sorry, not his Fiendish Codex, the Lost Chapter online, he's going to have the wave clear, and Vayne famously doesn't hold priority well, even with the support of the Karma. So
Yeah.
you can see how this composition can fit together. It's all around this J4 and Xin Zhao duo, and just the Veigar and Leona being able to rotate first. But
Yeah.
if this game goes late, Ornn, Vayne, Karma, Corki,
Yep.
Sejuani, they just win by default. So
Yeah.
a lot of time, a lot of pressure is being put on the blue side here.
Look, it's a ticking clock, and you usually only say that when it's like a Kassadin, even some other champions that scale immensely. But you're 100% correct. I feel like Blue side really wants to be aggressive early. Darius wants to win early into this Ornn, so he can't let him get too far ahead. You don't want this Ornn farming up and then giving items at level 14. Xin Zhao obviously wants to be so aggressive. That's a two champions that want a level 2 gank. In jungle and mid. So I'm expecting a lot of roams out of J4. I'm expecting a lot of 4-mans down bot, really to stop this Vayne from really coming online. So honestly, I've got to look at this Veigar Leona at the same time. Not only is it quite a lot of CC, but if Veigar, like you said, lands that combo, that's a dead Vayne, like straight off the bat. That is your carry down. Your real big damage outside of that is Corki. Everyone else is basically utility for your team. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they play around that. I was kind of hoping they went Samira because that wind wall would have been so good into the Veigar primordial damage, the primordial burst, which could have just popped her. So you can see there's two different play styles on both these teams, and I'm really excited to see how this one plays out, Weapon.
Yeah, it's really weird. They're giving us a real spicy draft in the early going of the series, and you're right. I can see the more we look at it, you can see where the win cons from the Jade Dragon side are going to come from, but it has to be executed quickly because this is a team that they're facing down that is 2-0. Let's not forget. Yeah. So they've demonstrated, and they even demonstrated throughout the sort of I guess the trial, the group stages. This is the roster that's largely kept intact and stayed together, is that they know how to play clean, consistent League of Legends, and they're really taking on the lessons of their coaches. So you don't have to do anything here, and that's often the most dangerous position to be in League of Legends, where you just get to farm and you just get to let the game come to you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for that, though, Evan. But guys, we're going to go into a short intermission while we get set up for the game. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for game number 1, Jade Dragons versus the Starcasters. See you in a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. First game of the night. Me and Weapon are well primed for this. The coffees are flowing through our blood, ready to go to bring you the highest level of entertainment this side of the hemisphere. Weapon, what a game we've got first up.
What a game. What a draft. We've got some real spicy ones. Also, I just want to quickly call out, now, you'll look at the drafts on your screen and you think, hey, this is a really good game for a Vayne to take cleanse. So really good job by Aridal. Aredial? Okay.
Aredial? Yeah, cool. Aredial sounds right.
When I met the guy, I learned his real name and never learned how to say his in-game name.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he has passed the brain check and he is running cleanse. And I think just more emphasis placed here on the blue side to actually be aggressive towards the bot side and actually exploit that Vayne and actually get themselves rolling in this game, because that's another summoner they have to worry about.
Yeah. I think big thing with that cleanse, though, is you only have one. Leona has enough CC to choke a Rhino, so I think on top of a bloody Veigar cage, well, this could be a cheeky little fight. Nice little ward.
Hey, they get this too. Very nice.
Very good.
Yeah, little boosty gets you to... It's not significant level in the 2v2 bot lane, because you're kind of sharing so much experience it doesn't quite matter, but definitely will help a little bit. Could lead to a potentially earlier level 2. And so they are just straight up aggressively hitting this wave, which could mean that they might be looking to chunk out early and maybe look for that cleanse on the Vayne, maybe even a flash if they get lucky. Could also hit the Karma.
Oh, look, it's probably nice to get nice both. Oh, good cue. Again, I'm curious to see how Worgen takes this. We've seen Worgen on some pretty aggressive AD carries. We haven't seen him on an AP carry yet. So is Veigar potentially coming into a meta weapon? Let's break down this pick.
I don't think it's something we're going to see a lot of. I think it can show up in particular situations. These AP carries, they're always going to be a little bit viable if you play them in the right situation and you play correctly around them, which you have to be cognizant of the fact that you just don't have an AD carry who's going to scale into the late game team fights. So like you gotta play fast. Which sounds weird with a scaling mage like Veigar, but it's just always going to be the case. But Morgan is definitely an interesting player, right? Because we kind of always has felt to be around that sort of lower tier of the pack. Like it not always had some kind of struggles, right? And like I think compared to, and this is no flame on Morgan. Like he's in a strong field, but this is an interesting pick. This may be something we want to see from this player that could differentiate him from the carries in this league. Like being able to bust out things like this and give your team alternate strategies always going to be helpful. As up on the top side, Ornn, our premier mage, tank, assassin, DPS carry, is just kind of mauling Darius. He has base damage. It's always kind of going to happen like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Darius will always have a little bit of a struggle streak early, but I think once Darius hits that level 6, gets even a gank under his belt, he will run that lane. Especially going Flash Ghost, he wants to go in real fast. But you can't ignore that it is Korean Weeb we're talking about. This man has been around for a while. He knows what he's doing. He's probably feeling very comfortable into this matchup. As you can see, he's took a cue to the face and he still came out on top.
Yeah, he also has the positioning of his jungle on his side, so he knows that Sejuani is up towards the top side. Gank towards the mid lane.
Nice. His life just having an easy life, honestly.
He just Valkyries out. It doesn't have to burn any summoners. Does get chunked out, but as we said, he's going to be able to farm into the tower. But Korean Weeb going in has the jungle.
Here comes Red. Like it could be a little bit of a cheeky fight. Does miss the stun. Could get the slow. There's the nice little hit. CC chain. First blood.
Oh, but it's actually on the side.
Right down to the bottom side too. MCOM Seeker not looking too good as he's taken to about 20% health. Still so low, but gets out alive because there's no AD carry to actually do anything.
I mean, it's not really so much the AD carry, but yeah, it's the lack of consistent damage. Maybe an AD carry would have been able to lock that down, but certainly wouldn't have been able to get that much of a chunk on so quickly. So, if anything, you are at least keeping the support of the Starcaster side honest. But yeah, at this stage, it's not going to translate into a whole lot. Probably going to eat a couple of potions and heal up from base regen, and they're just going to be able to reestablish themselves. But a little bit of a preview of what that's going to look like when a jungler is there. That is absolutely a dead karma every day.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think especially with that Xin Zhao, look at there's a bit more aggression. Look, it's so hard to lock this Corki down. He's just going to keep doing that. But no, like you said, I think the second Xin decides to start making some moves, as you can sort of see, he's coming down to at least get probably Vision and Prio on the drag. It's going to be interesting to start seeing these roams being a little bit more successful. Like we said, we wanted to see Jade Dragons be incredibly attentive in the early game, really try and get some damage off. So I guess we're going to see how that plays out. But right now, I think they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, they are. I think both sides are okay. Definitely, if you're on the Starcaster side, you feel great. You've already got that kill up towards the top side. It's gone onto your jungle, which means you can translate that lead around the rest of the map. And you have the Sejuani in the same quadrant or mirrored quadrant as the Xin Zhao. So it does mean that you will be there for any plays that do break out. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to be responsive here. And this is really just still on the Jade Dragon side. Once again, they're one of our more aggressive teams in this league, just based on what we've seen. They tend to win quickly or lose slowly. And the emphasis has to be on them to make the action. And Xin Zhao, as you said, is in the jungle, has found himself a karma.
This could be Seeker being picked off, but here comes Red, here comes His Life as well. That's a 3v2. There's the exhaust, a lot of damage coming out. Seeker flashes out, gets flashed on by Reasons. Is it going to be enough though, as they do already pick up Tempest? And looks like Raikkonen is actually also here, tries to get the lockdown CC. It goes down, but not too much damage to back it up, and they sort of walk out.
Yeah, not bad. You do trade the kill back onto Tempest, and actually you don't give up anything, so that just rules. That's awesome. I think if you're Starcasters, you take that every day of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
No one else died in that play, right?
No, so it was 1 for 1.
Yeah, it's kind of 1 for 1. Yeah, that is absolutely fine. You take some time away from the Xin Zhao, and I think you feel good about that.
Korean Weeb wants to go for this, gets a lot of CC.
Oh my
Look at God. He just soloed him. Holy. Could have said something else there, but beautiful.
Yeah, Ornn does some damage. Korean Weeb, very good Ornn player. Very good player in general. Just knows how to create advantages for himself. And against Part of the Horizon, this newcomer to this league and to this team, just making his authority felt in the top side.
And that was 1 assist. He had 1 assist at that point, and he just absolutely dominated that Darius. I think Darius being that really, honestly, solo queue Darius, 55 plus win rate in like every region. A
It's rough.
champion should be really dominating this lane, but it just goes to show that if you have the right player, you can do anything against a Darius.
Yeah, no, and that just gets rougher and rougher for the Darius because he's not going to hit those item spikes in time to be able to run the side lane against the Ornn. He's not really much of a team fighting champion, so again, it's that clock kind of beating the Jade Dragons here. And just want to point out little detail there from Seeker. Snuck the ward over the wall into the river, found the control ward, but more importantly, found Tempest, and they were able to kind of dissuade that gang. So really nice stuff, and really just showing why I think Seeker is showing us just a lot throughout this league. Although Reasons is here.
Here comes Reasons, gets the flag and drag as Seeker does get hit with the Cataclysm. That's a cage as well, but here comes Red, but it's just too much. Worgen pick up the kill. There's the extra flash forward by Riker, trying to pick up Red. He doesn't have the dash. He's already used it over the wall, trying to drop a little bit more. Flag and drag, still going. It's just so much damage.
That's a lot of damage, and that's exactly what you want to see. Just multiple chains of CC locking down that one target, running them down. Now, I don't think they can even contest this dragon on the side of Easy Life, so looks like this is going to be first dragon going over to the Jade Dragon side, and their first real victory, and it actually feels like a damn good one in this, given the circumstances.
Yeah, bringing the gold back just a little bit, so I guess it is showing that being attentive to your bot lane, which is where they wanted to put it, get this Veigar as potentially ahead as possible, is really going to bring up some drove. So we do know as well, weapon dragon meta is definitely a thing. Securing that soul really can make or break a game. So it's nice to see that this team, the early aggressive team, making early trades.
Yeah, exactly where I wanted to go. That you know that you are the team that needs to set the pace and define how the game is going to be played, and being able to threaten that soul point is so important if you are going to push the pace of the game and make the enemy dance to your tune. You need to be able to draw them in for those fights. Yeah, down towards the bot side, we can see exactly what we're talking about. Worgen and Rek'Rai do have the control of this bot lane just based on the fact that Vayne doesn't clear waves. You've got a Karma, but it's just not going to happen. So reactive, responsive has to be the red side, and they're finding counterpunches, but it does feel like they're in potential of getting swept away if the game continues at this pace, especially around those dragons.
I think, again, we can't keep... we got to still talk about the clock. You do have this Vayne who is still a solid 10 CS ahead. Veigar, as we know, not the strongest in last hitting minions. So if Vayne gets online with an item or two, maybe gets that Rage Blade, we're looking at a very strong champion. As looks like Jade Dragon's starting up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, starting up the Rift Herald now. Flash and ult is available for the Ornn, so contest could come if the mid lane priority does get taken, but it's just too fast. They just straight up take it, and Reasons...
Reasons coming very aggressive, but Reckoner is also here. That's a Leona coming in. Red's off to the side. Might want to jump over this wall, but decides not to take the fight.
Yeah, could have QR'd in and potentially would have been a kill there with the support of the Karma and the Corki, but they don't have to take those risks, right? They don't have to force these plays, so they just decide discretion, the better part of valor, and they're just going to be happy with the chunk, be happy with the wave being pushed down to tower. Already a decent CS lead on this Corki, so he is doing quite well for himself. And again, going back to that clock, it is going to be on their side. Red is up top side.
Oh, just gets pulled out, but there's a big glacial prison, and Red takes the kill, nicely CC'd.
Oh, that is brutal. He just could not move for could part the horizon, so just gets ran down. And this is one of these rare situations, Pike, where like you never gank for the Ornn. You just don't. It's not a thing. But you can, and you should be, because your other lanes just kind of are okay. They're not getting dove, although...
This could be the dive, though, Weapon, as we do see Tempest and Reasons looking to come down 4 men strong, just forcing them right off that. They do, I believe, have the Rift Herald as well, so they could look to get the 2 towers and then drop Shelly.
They have to. They absolutely have to. But they're not going to get it. That's too early.
Yeah, they didn't have the second wave to back it up. They should have had someone prioritizing the wave. Again, no AD carry really putting out the DPS.
Yeah, late game, that Veigar will hit towers pretty hard, but they dropped that Herald a little bit too early. They kind of just had to, because they wanted to get the chunk on the tower and get some gold to make that play worth it. But it doesn't quite feel worth it, because you're sharing so much gold between multiple members. The Vayne and the Karma don't even burn summers in that play, so they're completely comfortable to just stay under this tower. And like, look at the CS. Vayne is chilling.
Yeah.
She is literally Jay chilling. She has 104 CS, just slightly
Bing chilling.
Yeah, being chilling, like slightly over the Vega. Like that's going to equalize in a wave, but that's the state of the game. It doesn't feel like you've done enough.
Oh, look, and it's hard. You can see they're already playing. That's a bad place to back.
That's a
If they
bad
do
place
get
to
caught out. They do. The sun gets.
Oh no!
CC chain is everything. You want to be reasons picking up that kill. Why back there?
Okay. A mistake was made. I think that's all we can say here. Reasons might be able to find more, but recall is going to come through. Iredial is under tower and probably wants to leave very soon. Does have cleanse.
Oh, they do want to look for this one. Reasons. There's the flash, double flash coming out. Good little condemn there, but there is Tempest using the ulti, knocks him back. There's a cage, and oh my lord. How do you dodge that?
You just don't. So much CC, but here comes the Valkyrie.
Oh, big damage coming out, throwing down everything he can. Another cage goes down, but Raikkonen also Glacial Prison does land as well. Here comes the Orb, trying to throw it all out. Doesn't hit. It just goes off to the side as Tempest is now inside the red side's jungle. They just want to be able to look for this one. They're going to jump this ward. They do double flash going over. I love to see it. And they knock it back over into E's life. But now he's probably going to get taken out, but no, he gets the shutdown. Beautiful play.
So much mobility available to them with the flashes. They didn't burn any summons. They weren't put under any pressure. So when it comes time to turn and burn in that play, yes, you pick up the Vayne between a tier 1 and 2, but there's so much CC available between the Sejuani and the Ornn that they can also turn. But this has bought the Darius some time to hit a tower. But more importantly, I think this is the real consequence of that play, of the overstay in the bot lane, is that we were talking about how important those soul points are going to be. You've just given up a Chempunk Drake. Yep. Hey, good news, it's going to be Infernal, so big damage. But you needed to be able to play to secure those Drakes, and right now you're just not being able to get that opportunity to accelerate the game in the way you wanted, just by, I think, giving up that single Drake.
Yeah, honestly, it was also, we don't want to just go over the fact that Ornn's TP there really swung that fight.
Nasty.
It was actually beautiful, because we saw that Sejuani was there. They were trying to react, trying to stop it, but then they just turned that fight so well. It left Darius alone in the top lane, but it was only for him to catch back up. So I don't think there was anything really lost there on the side for Ornn, which is really nice. But they do take bot tower here, as they do have the pressure.
Okay.
But an all-over, really good play. I've got to give credit. Korean Weeb is really running the map as this top Ornn.
Yeah, it really has been. Been in the right place at the right time, had more impact than his opposite number, which is sort of to be expected, given that the player is quite new, fresh off the solo queue boat. But Korean Weeb definitely showing his value as a player in this team, and just showing the experience. A name that we've seen before in other tournaments, I think.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Like maybe University League as well. So it has been around, although play towards the mid lane.
Oh, Aerodile actually getting hit on everything. Reasons, picking that one up. So much CC. I told you, cleanse is not enough here, weapon.
Just absolutely dunked on. And Worgen didn't even use his ult, all said and done. So they just killed the Vayne solo. But
good flash coming out, but is it enough to take on this Ornn? He does have the Bramble Vest. He can just wait this one out. There's the Dunk Master, the kill. Just not enough.
Korean Weeb just styled on and waited for the ult to come through, pressed W, and they just W auto to get the kill on the Darius. Really rough stuff for Part the Horizon. But in the mid lane, it was traded back. Vayne does get picked up in the run of play. So Vayne is getting a little bit stifled in this game. But that just doesn't really feel like it massively matters when you've got this Corki who's now hitting, he's about to hit that 2-item spike. Going to have that Mana Mune online very soon, and he is just going to continue to scale to infinity. So we're still looking for the answers here from the Jade Dragon side, how they really blow this game open.
It was actually funny as well before, but reasons. No, but what I was going to say is, you talked about Vayne not having that wave clear. You got a Corki for that.
Exactly.
I feel like you don't really need to worry. So Vayne is just here to level up, scale, get strong. Corki's going to take care of the rest. He can move around the map real fast. So that's really nice to see. Like, although, yes, he is getting dunked on permanently, as it is a 0-5 bot lane, it's okay. Like, we're waiting for the late game. Veigar is the threat, but you got to just be careful of that CC chain.
Yeah, and that can often be the strategy against teams that just aren't quite as coordinated. We do have a contest around the Herald. I don't think you want to pull the trigger here if you are the Starcaster side. I think you can just decide that this one goes over, because it just means it's going to be a tier 1 at this point, unless they manage to sneak their way into some bot lane priority, but it doesn't look likely at this point. So probably just going to be a drop here. Maybe could look for a dive off the back end of the Herald being dropped.
Oh, I feel like it might be, as it is a 5-member strong, as Easelife is actually caught out on the wrong side of the cage. Sun goes down. Tempest absolutely massive coming from Reese as they blow him up. That could be the tower.
Could be. Easelife stepping too far forward. There's no vision to support them stepping up towards that river brush, so didn't know that Reasons was going to be there. I mean, had to have an idea, but Reasons just catches him by surprise, and CC lockdown just kills him outright. So no Herald drop. They are going to maybe look to save this. Maybe they do have their eyes on that tier 2 in the bot lane.
Oh, look, well, they're sending Darius down there, so he's just sort of rotating. But yeah, are they? I don't even know. Like, it's probably worth putting it down here now. They do have the members advantage. There's the drop. Is it really going to be worth, though?
Oh,
they're going to knock up. This could be an engage. There is a big cage, but Orn's throwing out the Forge God. Wants to get a good 4-man knockup. They're going back into it, though. MCOM Seeker getting rid of this. A lot more damage coming out of the backside.
No damage.
Aradala is actually doing everything. Tempest, if you keep him alive, he will keep shutting you down as the Vayne is popping off. Easelife was also in that backline doing whatever he felt like, and they could just be turning this and taking their tower.
There's just no consistent damage. Once all the spells have been rotated through, once J4 goes in, you have nothing else. So you can see how far back Worgen had to play. They're going to pick up that mid lane tier 1, finally. It feels like it's been a long time coming, but this feels like it's a shift in the momentum, a significant one for the red side. They're even going to pick up the next Infernal Drake, and any hope of you snowballing this game out of control starts to feel like it's slipping away from you for the Jade Dragons.
And it's interesting to see, like, we're talking about how Vayne probably should have just been farming this up, but Veigar's been doing an excellent job. He is 15 CS ahead. That is a kill's worth ahead. So it's going to be a hard slug for Vayne. But getting items on the board, she's going to have a bit of gold now to back on, 1,500 roughly. But we're starting to see some big items coming into play here, which is definitely swaying these fights weapon. Black Cleaver being the first buy for Darius, which seems fair into a Ornn Sejuani. But I'm looking at this Veigar going to Everfrost as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a standard one. Back when we used to see a bit more of the bot lane Veigar, it was always going to be the Everfrost. I was actually going to say, I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw a Rod of Ages. Probably could have gone down nicely for a little bit of extra survivability and certainly a massive AP purchase. But the Everfrost, it does make sense here, locking down the Vayne, maybe peeling yourself when it comes to the Sejuani and the Ornn, and it is just a standard good item. Gives you AP as well, so it's an item that gives you AP, but I mean the passive gives you AP, which Veigar tends to like. He likes to press that gameplay button and needs big numbers to do it.
Oh yeah, I love that. The single button does the job. But Tempest, nothing really going to be too much on that. Just trying to secure that early vision around the Baron, as it has hit 20 minutes weapon. We're looking for some bigger plays to start coming forward.
Yeah, we are up towards this top side. Looks like an attempt at a dive maybe, but not a good one.
Not too great, as it feels a little bit sloppy. Trying to potentially secure that top tower.
Maybe just cryo for the Baron, maybe Vision. I don't know what the plan is here, but that's an Ornn. He's very tanky, and he just gets to press W and your CC doesn't matter. So it's going to be a wave shoved in tower and at least getting a response, but that's about all you get.
I don't know what I want to say about that, because that was just too funny.
It was an attempt. An attempt was made.
Yeah, you got to give a bit of commendation for an attempt.
Respect the attempt. It's all about the attempt sometimes, especially when you've got a composition that just needs to make plays, right? If you can maybe draw someone up in a rotation, catch them unawares as they try and support the top lane, cover the top lane dive, then totally, it would have worked. But sometimes you just look a bit silly.
Now we've got a Rageblade coming up on Vayne. Decided to avoid going the second tier boots into the Berserkers to just rush that Rageblade. I like it. I think rushing these items is going to be very, very crucial. But that's a good flash, Seeker. Really well played. Oh, and a flash from Tempest.
All right. Okay. Do you draw the flash out of Tempest?
I don't know.
Yes.
No, reasons. Sorry.
He has to trade the flash, but trades the flash with the support. Does mean that Seeker is going to be under a little bit more threat. Certainly has borne the brunt of a lot of these engages. Really stepping up and safeguarding this Vayne. So maybe an angle. Maybe it means that the Vayne now has to play forward a bit, as she is going to have a flash up very soon. Does have the cleanse as well, so could get a little bit bold. But thus far, I think it really has been a really good job by the Starcasters. Just play to their win condition and make sure that they're stemming the bleeding wherever possible, and they're just getting gold on these carries. Even look at the deployments. It's a Corki down to the side, has the teleport, and then you've got Korean Wave off in the side lane, just playing 1-3-1 and just slowing this game right down. And that's exactly what you want to do.
Look, they don't have a tower. They have one tower to their name. That's all they need. It was the mid tower. It's opened them up to actually flex these rotations and get these carries out onto the sides. But Ornn versus Veigar up here, they're just letting them farm. I think Veigar is probably not the best. Well, actually, it is probably the best one, as Worgen throwing down an early cage. But it's Korean Weep. He's been chilling.
I think Worgen actually, I think his life flashed before his eyes, because that's a 206 Ornn. Who's just about to hit 2 items, also has a bit of healing reduction on in his kit already, so that's working out pretty nice for him. He's gone for the most aggressive, like Giga Chad build, by the way.
Yeah, he's finished the Jack Show.
Jack Show, like I respect it. We always got to see a little bit of spice in these games, and Jack Show Ornn, it's not out of the question, right? But it's definitely not the one you'd normally see. It would usually be the Frozen Gauntlet, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's interesting to see that we aren't seeing a huge amount. We've got a Radiant Virtue on the Sejuani too, so that's a really big front line. Not only is it the survivability from Ornn, but Sejuani is just going to be having a huge impact. But I want to talk real quickly about this Karma, how she hasn't got her item as the one who is being dove probably the hardest. She's been kept out of this game for so long. I think the second she comes online a little bit more, we're probably going to see a lot less aggression coming out from Blue Siders, because they're not going to be able to do too much into this team because they are scaling so well right now, as it's only 25 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the Karma is going to be a big part of these fights going forward. Regardless of which mythic she goes for, I think she has a lot of options. But those additional stats, as Korean Weave is going to laugh as he put in the baby cage. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, it's a lot of front-loaded damage, and any amount of shielding against that is going to be so important, especially when you can play at range with the Corki, when you can turn and burn with the Vayne. So we're talking like, I feel like I'm talking as if this game is over, and to be honest, it's damn close.
Look at it. It's close, but it kind of feels like it is at the same time. Darius is forced into a McCree Weave. Could be the sign of getting blown up as he's still tanking. He takes everything and he still gets out alive. That is a huge package on top of them. Worgen is just trying to avoid everything. But look, Korean Weave's gone back into the fight. He doesn't care. He wants to keep going. But they're still going for Worgen. Look at this damage. This could be a free Baron heading over, but massive.
Just rule number 1 of League of Legends, don't dump spells on the tank, because Reasons might pick something up on the backside. No, he won't.
Oh.
Will he? No.
No, he's just too strong, man.
That's rough. So Korean Weave is very, very tanky, and even has the Jack Show for extra health, life drain, all that good stuff. They just dump everything on him as he walks into the pit, walks into the brush, because he just can. And then the fight is easily cleaned up, and now it's a Baron. I think this game feels pretty damn over.
Oh, it was literally what I was saying. It was like, the second they got that dragon just before, I was just like, doesn't matter where they go in this game. They've gotten to the later game of it all. It's well past mid-game. We're starting to see this team really shine. And we got a Shirelles on top of this Karma now too. Just imagine, just more shielded, but imagine the speed of these people running at you. Just this Ornn. If I saw this Ornn running at me, I'm pretty sure I'd have a heart attack. He's even wearing the Space Groove skin, and I'd still I'd have to change my pants. I'd have to change my pants.
I wouldn't be able to deal with it. Like, Ornn, just normally, terrifying. Big grumpy goat man. But big groovy grumpy goat man, I'm not walking away from that. That changes me forever.
You just see him just sort of like dancing towards you, and you're sort of just like, nah, slow down, man. And he's just still dancing faster and faster.
Disco violins, but distorted.
He has hit level 15 as well, so we're starting to see those extra items come out, giving those over to the right team members. We'll see who he gives it to. His Corki still doesn't have his mythic, looking for that Ludens.
He's given at least one over to the Vayne, which does make sense. Has the oh, by the way, Mr. Play-by-Play, let's test your knowledge. Upgraded shield bow.
Blood Ward.
Yes, nice. Bloodborne, good game. But Blood Ward, better item for Vayne. I don't think Vayne would do much with Bloodborne.
No.
Although she does hunt monsters, so she'd probably at least enjoy it a little bit.
You gotta love Jack Show as the evolved form is called the Unspoken Parasite. That sounds like Ornn right now.
That is the sickest thing I've ever heard. That's awesome.
You're welcome. So
What
play by
about
play by.
Radiant Virtue?
I haven't seen it yet. But here we go. Korean walking into the cage. Glacial Prison does come down. A lot of CC, but Raikkonen just can't withstand that. Sun goes down. That's their frontline weapon.
Yeah, you just don't have a front line at this point. Vayne does so much true damage, has so many items under her belt. She's going to be building up towards that Blade of the Ruined King, so it just gets worse for you. You just lose every fight by default, and this is a point where I think the comms just have to be about what you do in the next game if you're on the blue side, because this is rough.
Look, it's nice to play a comp that wants to play aggressive early, but you need to play aggressive early. That is the difference. But we see this Baron is really doing some work. Ornn has back to clear that top wave. Darius doing a good job taking tier 2 tower, but this team can just sit here. 2 cannons, 1 cannon, and it's just doing its job.
2 cannons and a Corki, or 1 cannon and a Corki. And a Corki with Luden's Echo as well, or now the upgraded Luden's Echo. So he just chonks people. This is an old school build. It's had a lot of the wind taken out of the sails with recent patches, but well, not so recent patches. Actually, it was a big thing during Worlds, if I remember correctly, but it still hits hard in the right situations, and they have a karma to just get them out of dodge if there's any attempted aggression. I'm
really salty that cannon instantly decided, just as it was 1 attack away from taking the tower, decided to change focus and hit the J4 there, so that's really upsetting.
Yeah, I bet the Starcasters are a little bit annoyed, but they can't be too annoyed because they're just on cruise control to win this game. Yeah. It is only about a 4k gold lead, but gentle viewers, I do need to remind you that there is one team with an 80 carry and one without. And yes, Veigar scales, but consistent DPS in extended fights is so important. That's what these fights are looking like every single time. Oh, look, it's going to be harder and harder for this Veigar, who's only at 664 AP. That sounds pretty good, but at 30 minutes of the game, you want to be a little bit higher up there. So I think it's going to be a little bit rougher. They're trying to play for this late game with this Veigar. It's just not cutting up to what we expected it to be, Weapon. So let's talk about this. We want to talk about how these guys can come back, but how does Red Team just close this one out? I mean, how does Red Team close this one out is going to be this dragon fight, marking your front line so they can't get on top of your back line. They have the angle with Red taking forward position, Aradil on the back. At this point, they can play poke, but that teleport from Korean Wave is so staunch. Glacial Prison does just miss as 2 people are caught off Path of Horizon, not able to do it. Here comes the Forge God. He's looking for a little bit more. Only gets the Leona as the big cage comes down. There's a lot of damage coming out. Reasons uses the stopwatch. He's trying to stay alive for a little bit longer, but no, he gets blown up too. Raikkonen still here, but look at that little pull. Here comes Path of Horizon. Tries to get the guillotine. It's not enough. It's a double kill to the Karma. I don't know how that works. As Korean Weeb walking this one down. That's a fight to Drag Soul. That's a Dragon Soul. It's easy for them. They just played it front to back. That's all they had to do. And it didn't matter how much dive came through. You could see Reason got on top of Aurelial. And Aurelial was like, you don't understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Just turns and burns. And he's not the tankiest guy with this J4 build, but he just melts. And you don't have a front line to sustain through the damage of Vayne at this stage of the game. And Korean Wave, that teleport, as I said, just absolute Giga Chad. Not a flank teleport, straight in the enemy's face, pulls the trigger on the ultimate, and just cleans up the fight alongside his team. I think itemization here is just not looking... I guess it makes sense in the eyes of a gamer, but for this sort of comp, it's not great. Where we're seeing a Serpent's Fang being built on the J4. I feel like J4 should have gone for something a little bit more tankier, just for potentially a bit more survivability in these fights. Only Leona is really the tank on this team. You got 2 Black Cleavers, you got a Shridebringer, you got a Gore Drinker. I just don't know what Darius, Zen, and J4 were hoping to do, but blow up the backline when they need to get through such a big front line. Yeah, it's a tough draft to execute. You can't really fault them for having kind of fumbled the ball a little bit. And I think there's a world where this Darius could have, maybe with some pressure up towards the top side, shutting down the Ornn, could have potentially been the defining factor, maybe just split pushing away, as we're about to find out. What's your guess? Radiant Virtue upgraded? It's a Primordial Dawn. Holy crap, he's so good. I don't guess, I look at it. You look at it, okay, cool. I learn. Alright. See, I don't look at ornaments, but you're the play-by-play guy. I trust that you know most of the items, right? Maybe? Most look, I'd be pretty confident. If Tempest stole that, I'd be well impressed. As it looks like he just wanted to try and steal it. Saving grace. Bonk. I'm glad we're seeing Luden's Echo Corki back in the game.
Oh, but that's so big. Good CC comes out of that one. They're looking for a little bit more fight. Good cage comes down. Reasons still taken very low. Oh, look at Vayne. She's flashing for Morgan. That is going to be one dead Vega. But no, it looks like he's getting the good cleanse. And he's looking to turn onto that one. Stopwatch comes out. Morgan is the line of fire too. But now they do whatever they want. This Ornn is a beast. There's Darius. He's actually lost to the back. Horizon's just being chased down by a Corki.
Yeah. Aurelio just doing his best Uzi cosplay is
Is he actually? What?
Nice. Okay, good stuff. Base race but nicely done. Bit of honor restored for Part of the Horizon. He's had definitely a rough game for himself, but yeah, that fight, Aurelio just doing Uzi things, just straight up in the enemy's face, knows he has the support of his team, and just frontlining with Vayne, and they're just going to run this one right down to the enemy base.
Darius can kill the Corki, but can he kill the Ornn? He's used the guillotine. Let's see what happens. He's doing a bit of damage though, but I don't know if he can do it. As the Ninth Vow is also picked up too, but wait, here comes Tempest, knocking up the Karma, flag and drag, picks up another kill, looking for a little bit more. Ornn also at the top side, just getting pulled out. What is going on in this game right now?
The longest fight.
Darius!
We found it.
We get it. You're a champion with an axe. There goes the Forge God trying to end it.
Full health, but he was back to like half health for a second there. What happened?
Stop it, man. I'm gonna die.
Just doesn't die. He will never die. Korean Weave is going to end this game deathless, and just absolutely, he's probably going to top the damage charts if I'm perfectly honest.
Probably.
One's a dumb champion sometimes. In the best possible way.
The best fight we can bring back to that is when he got 4v1 in the bush, and he still came out not only alive, but took half of them to half health.
I think he did so much damage in that individual play, and then his team just kind of came in and cleaned up. And it's like poke Corki. You got a Vayne as well, who gets faster when she's running at people. So the response is always going to be pretty damn swift, especially you got the Shurelias online. So it's just he's just there to get punched. And even the Sejuani can withstand quite a bit of face punching, and then the rest of the team comes in and saves his honor. So it's just such a sick composition. It's great to see them make it work.
Oh look, and it's something you would see. This is drafting at one of the highest levels. I think the only sort of lane you could fault, and we did see it, was the bot lane coming out, where it did just sort of have a little bit of a rougher time. Oh, what was that Corki rocket? Oh,
Luden's Echo is so sick. Even has the Void Staff as well, so these rockets hurt. This is sick.
Oh, poor Morgan. He's just sort of hobbling back. I will show you no mercy!
Waddling back. I think Vega has the best home guard run in the entire game, where he like hops from foot to foot.
Yeah.
So good. Huge fan.
But so I hope everyone enjoyed my little Vega impersonation. Wasn't the best. I'll work on it.
No, I think you just have to put on. Oh my god! Reasons?
The reasons that was so painful to watch was that like 80% of his health in one hit?
No MI either. Like none whatsoever. He doesn't even have a Edge of Night, so he just is taking these directly to the face, directly to the cranium.
Oh,
Tempest
but Australians?
No, he's fine.
Nah, they're just running away.
It's fine.
I mean, asked by chat. Well, what does Twitch say? Twitch chat wants me to say something as Twitch. But there's actually a fight. I can't do it a Twitch voice inverse right now. Cage goes down. There's the TB. Solar Flare does come down. Look at the damage coming in. Blown up. Morgan takes out Seeker. Gets a little bit of a knockback, but can they do any more in this fight? What is Korean Award? This man is a monster. He doesn't care who you are. Absolute damage. Cataclysm comes down. Look at Darius as well. He's actually doing things, taking out the Vayne, but double kill going to Ornn. MVP for this game. Horizon. As Horizon started to get some shutdowns too, trying to hold on, but there is a big wave in this mid lane pushing down, and looks like it's a TP. They're just going to end this game right now. Corki, he's at like 10 HP. He's going to try and finish this one off as the tower is next. Can they go for the end? Korean Weave's just going to walk through because he just gains health more than he's taking from it, and that's going to end this game right now. Weapon finally finishing game one. Absolutely massive, and a huge play coming out from our boys, the Starcasters. I almost said Stargazers.
Stargazers, great name. Starwalkers.
Yeah, I was gonna.
They might do the same. So,
Starwalker.
Just clean game from start to finish. Honestly, like
absolutely beautiful.
They drafted a composition that had a very clear win condition. As we're doing camera stuff live. I don't know what to say. Like, there's a reason this team is 2-0 in the circuit, and
Yeah.
they just demonstrated it there. Like, you got to give props to the Jade Dragon side. Couple of new players coming in. They picked a composition which required some aggression, and you kind of see it. You want to try and cheese out the best team in the league, because sometimes that's what you need to do to get the wins while you're still building up that synergy. And unfortunately, it just fell flat. So we'll see how they go. Maybe next game they'll go a bit more standard, but as far as standard goes, I think the Starcasters are looking just indomitable.
They're just looking really on form. I think they just sort of went in saying, okay, we know our game plan. We can sort of see what they're going to do, but we know what our goal is. So fantastic. I just want to break down some damage charts here. Corky.
Oh, yeah.
34,000 damage. The closest after that was 22. Just think about that.
The Ornn damage? So I don't know if we can get damage charts on screen. Mayhem, is that possible?
Maybe. Until then, let's break it down anyway.
So we've got like you said, 34k. Apparently we've got them on screen. Look at the Ornn damage. 20,800 damage. That's basically as much as the Vayne did by herself. That is ridiculous. Korean Weave straight up MVP this game. Like, it's not even close.
Absolutely love that. But guys, who do you? Let's get some chats in. I think if we can get a prediction, as we have to give a big shout out to MCOM being finally hitting affiliate. So we're seeing some subs come in. So if you have a Prime or anything, don't forget to gift it over to MCOM or my own stream as well. Yes, I'll shamelessly plug it. That's fine. But no, guys, definitely give us some love. Really big kudos to MCOM actually getting that. But what an absolutely phenomenal game.
It was sick. Really nicely played by. I love the attempts early on we saw from the Jade Dragons. You can't fault them. You can't fault what they tried to do. But I think there was a little bit of a lack of cohesion, maybe some target selection in the early game that just didn't quite go their way. And maybe triggers pulled a little bit too soon when they just didn't quite have the tools to secure the kills. So maybe a little bit more discipline as this team builds more synergy will lead them to wins. But this is a best of 3. They could come back. They could impress us. So I'm keen to see what this slightly revamped roster can do in the next game.
Yeah, no, I'm actually incredibly keen for that. Now, guys, we're going to go take a short break. Don't forget to put in your predictions. They are available in chat right now. We'll be right back with the second game of the series, MCOM Platinum Circuit. Looking forward to seeing Starcasters really drive this one home, or to see the Jade Dragons really pick it up in the next one. We'll see you in a sec.